Very good morning, everyone. Myself is Sanket Bavadia, and today I am going to presentation on the topic Tennyson, a representative poet. Uh, let's start. This is my personal information. Table of contents. First, we discuss about Tennyson. Then we discuss why Tennyson called a representative poet. Uh, then discuss some notable works of Tennyson. Then conclusion and reference. Start about Tennyson. As we know, his full name is Alfred Lord Tennyson. He was born in 6 August 1809, and he became the prominent figure of the Victorian era. And he was also appointed as a poet laureate in 1850 after the death of Wordsworth. And he studied at Trinity College, Cambridge, and he wrote 6,000 lines epic poem, The Battle of Amageddon, at the age of 12. And his work represent the Victorian society. So his work, his most of all represent societies like Victorian people, Victorian condition, societal condition. Some work explore on the woman's condition in Victorian society, etc. Uh, why Tennyson called a representative poet? First is a reflection of Victorian values, then addressing social issues, then reflecting faith and doubt, and portraying role of women. Let's discuss first point: reflecting of Victorian values. Uh, Tennyson works reflect the core value of Victorian society, such as duty, honor, loyalty, patriotism, etc. So these are the key themes of Victorian values. That this theme Tennyson reflect on his work. Here is an example of his work. His poem, "The Charge of the Light Bridge," reflect the theme of Victorian values like the duty of soldier, patriotism, courage, etc. So in his work, all this kind of theme explore in his work, and his poetry encapsulated the desire for moral and social stability, and his work also some balance between moral and social stability, and also these themes explore in his work. Second point is addressing social issues. Tennyson poetry often explore some social issues in his poetry, such as poverty, class difference, and industrialization. So these three themes, social issues, are also often uh, represented in some work of Tennyson. In his poem like Locksley Hall, Tennyson criticized the rigid class of system. So in his work Locksley Hall, we find out some rigid class system in his poem, and other some work we find out some industrialization such as and poverty also find out uh, Tennyson's work. Tennyson's poetry reflect this issue, making him a voice of social awareness in his time. So that time's condition, all uh, all condition is happening, but Tennyson represent in his work. So he become the voice of social awareness in that time, reflecting faith and doubt. Tennyson deal with personal crisis of faith and fear of death. Uh, Tennyson's work also explore faith and doubt, because that time science is also development, and some religious people were not believe in science. They are believing in religion without any doubt. So religious people and scientific people both between conflict. His work reflects the societal doubt of his time, especially around science and religions. So in that time science were developing, and religion was also there. So religious people and science people were between conflict. So and in his work, and that time uh, Darwin's theory also evolving, theory of evolution. So some religious people believing is creation of biblical creation. So it's become conflict, and Tennyson also represented in his work. In Memoriam, exemplify the emotional journey of despair to reconciliation. So is a very famous poem of Tennyson, and in his work. He explored the some religious belief, and his poem right on his closest friend death, and he exemplifies some religious aspect and uh, some uh, some philosophy, etc. uh, Portraying role of woman during that time, evolving perception of a woman in various roles. So Tennyson also represent in his work role of a woman, and in a different various roles. He portrayed woman as a strong, noble, and virtuous, challenging traditional gender roles. So he also represent as a woman as a strong, noble, virtuous, and challenging traditional gender roles. In his work Queen Mary, Tennyson portrayed woman as a powerful and resilient. So in his work, we find out Tennyson also represent women in his work, and how condition affect the woman in, during Victorian society. Uh, and he also explained women find some difficulty in that time. Some That time woman considered as a passive figure of Victorian society. So all this thing we Tennyson explored in his poem. Notable works of Tennyson: In Memoriam, Ulysses. Let's discuss brief summary of each work. In Memoriam, it was published in 1850, and after he was appointed as a poet laureate. In his poem In Memoriam, by Alfred Lord Tennyson is a poem about a deep sadness after the death of his best friend Arthur Hallam. Tennyson write about his grief, doubt, and question about life, death, and fate, exploring human emotions, the struggle with loss, and the search for hope and meaning. So, in this poem, he write on his best friend death, Arthur Henry Hallam, and he explore the grief, doubt, questioning about life, death, fate, etc. Ulysses, it was published in 1842. In Tennyson's poem Ulysses, the speaker is a Ulysses, the famous Greek hero, now old and weak. In his kingdom of Ithaca, he feels restless and bored with his peaceful life. He remembered his exciting adventures and longed to explore the world again. Ulysses believed that life should always be full of action and discovery, and he refuses to live quietly in retirement. He encouraged his son Telemachus to take over his responsibility while he continued to seek adventure, believing that life is meant to be lived to the fullest, no matter of the age. So, in this poem on the Ulysses, he was a Greek hero, and now he was old, and realization of life. Life is not a is now he is bored because he's peaceful life, because he want to explore life, and he also tell his son to explore life, and no matter how age, life is fully explore in any age. The poem Break, it was published in 1842. The poem Break by Alfred Lord Tennyson is a short poem about the poet's sorrow and longing after the death of the loved one. The speaker watches the waves crash against the shore, symbolizing the constant passage of time, and that expresses a deep sense of loss and sadness. He wishes the could find comfort or a meaning in the changing sea, but his grief remains. The poem highlights the pain of losing someone and the feeling of being unable to move on. So, in this poem, he was also right on the on sadness and death of his loved one, and he write on he sit on the sea, and he see the seashore come on and touch with the stone and come again. So here he shows the highlight the pain of on. So conclusion. In conclusion, Alfred Lord Tennyson is a key figure of Victorian era, known as his profound exploration of themes like faith, nature, and human struggle. His timeless work reflect the both personal and societal concern, securing his legacy as one of the most influenced poet in English literature. Through his work and some representative in his work, such as themes like faith, doubt, nature, human struggle. All these things he represent in his work. So make him a prominent figure in Victorian society. Uh, this is my references. And thank you. Now you can ask question to me.
Listen to my question. How does Tennyson describe the role of woman in his poems?
Yes, Bharti. Tennyson describe a woman as a strong, virtuous, but sometimes women are facing social issues. They consider as a passive role of Victorian society. Next question.
So, Sanket, my question is for you. What are some key themes in Tennyson's poetry that reflect Victorian values and concepts?
Yes, Tennyson's poetries we often find some themes like patriotism, honor, duty, and and also some key themes like patriotism, duty, honor, etc. Thank you.